بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. The last point about قاعدة أصالة الصحة is about a case where the person who has done the action may have different opinion. If he's a mujtahid or if he's a muqallid, may follow a mujtahid who has a different opinion about the requirements for validity of the action than the one who wants to apply asalatul sihhah. For example, you follow a mujtahid who says that the formula for, say, buying or selling should be recited in Arabic. So this is the condition for your mujtahid. That person follows a mujtahid who doesn't believe in necessity of being in Arabic. So can you say that because a believer has done this, I assume it's valid, even if you know that for him this was not a requirement? Okay? For him, even without this, it was valid. So this is the general point. الصحة عند الفاعل أو عند الحامل. Is validity according to the agent important or according to the one who wants to do hamla ala sihha? He wants to put the action of a believer into good interpretation, into good condition. Hamil means the one who interprets action of someone else, the observer who is judging. So whose opinion is important? The author says we can think of 4 possibilities. And each of these may have different situation. First, imagine something is a condition for the agent. For example, Arabic is a condition for the agent with respect to the recitation. And according to the person that who wants to do asalatul sihhah, it's not a condition. So they have different opinions, but the one who wants to interpret the action of the other one has less requirements. So this is not a problem. Okay? The agent believes that Arabic is needed. The person who wants to apply asalatul sihhah doesn't believe Arabic is needed. So this is not going to make the situation worse. It's going to make it better because he has extra requirements in his mind. Sometimes it's opposite. The first doesn't believe in this as a condition. For example, doesn't believe Arabic is condition. He believes in any language it works. The second believes that it must be in Arabic. Here we say asalatul sihhah cannot be applied because that person didn't believe that this is a requirement for validity. We can say a believer does things properly, but if he himself says, for me to be proper doesn't need this. Okay? So it's just a matter of, you have to be very lucky that if He didn't believe this is the condition, still has observed it. So, if what is required for the second person is not required by the first, then it would be difficult to apply Asalatul Sihhah. Third, if there is doubt, you are not sure that there is disagreement. Maybe he also believes like you. Maybe he believes differently. Maybe he has a condition. Maybe he doesn't have condition. Maybe he believes in your condition. You don't know. We say here Asalatul Sihhah can be applied because normally uqala, they're not going to inquire and ask person, interview him, what are the requirements for you, and then they check with their own requirements. Yeah. The fourth type is when you know that they have different opinions and you know that these opinions can never get together. For example, one says that Salatul Jum'ah should be recited jahran. The other one says should be recited ikhfatan. It means hamd and surah in Salatul Jum'ah. One says must be loudly, recited loudly. The one says must be not loudly. It's a matter of must and must not. Here also we cannot apply Asalatul Sihhah. It's very obvious. Pardon?
No doubt.
Yeah. So, we cannot say in all cases of having different opinions, it is a problem to apply or it's not a problem. It depends. If you have doubt about whether they differ, it's okay. Or if you know that the first one has extra requirements, again, it's okay. Yeah? But if they have conflicting views, or if the second one has a requirement that the first one doesn't believe it as a condition or requirement, then in these two cases, it's difficult or you cannot apply Asalatul Sihhah fi fi'l al-Muslim. Then there are a few examples. I read for you one of them and explain, but inshallah you can do it in mubahisa, the rest of it. It's good exercise. A person has been hired to perform Hajj on behalf of someone. شخص استأجرناه لأداء الحج. Okay, suppose we have hired someone to do Hajj on behalf of our late grandfather, for example. وبعد مضي فترة الحج. After Hajj season, أخبرنا بأنه قد حج. He says he has performed the Hajj. If you doubt whether he has done Hajj or he has gone to Mecca, Medina for tourism, what do? If he says I have done Hajj, so we have to accept that he has done Hajj. Then, if you don't know whether he has performed it on behalf of himself or on behalf of our late grandfather, what should we do here?
We accept position is done.
But we cannot accept this as on behalf of our, because it's not a matter of validity. It can be valid for himself, it can be valid. If he says, I have done on behalf of your grandfather, we accept. But if we just know that he has done Hajj, it is not enough. We have to ask. Okay? Third question. We know that he has done Hajj, and we know that he has done it on behalf of our grandfather, but we don't know whether he did it properly or not. Here, Asalatul Sihhah. Here we say, inshallah, he has done it properly. So you understand the difference. You cannot always say, inshallah, he has done. If you know that he has done Hajj, yes. But if you don't know has done Hajj, has just gone there, it's not enough. Or you know he has done Hajj, but you don't know it's on behalf of your grandfather, on behalf of someone else or himself, again, it's not enough. But if you know he has done Hajj on behalf of your grandfather, and you have doubt whether it was valid or not, you say, Asaalat al-Sihhah requires that it was valid. Yes.
Now, if a non-Muslim does a contract for us, is it valid?
This rule is about Muslim.
So this,
A contract to do what?
if a non-Muslim performs a contract, is it valid? Why or why not? Is the question in the book.
Yeah. So that rule of Asaalat al-Sihhah fi fi'l al-Muslim would not apply there.
Because he has to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. Another example. شخص رأيناه من بعيد يتكلم معنا. There is someone, we see him in distance, he speaks to us. لا ندري أنه سلم علينا أو يسأل عن صحتنا. ماذا نحكم?
We assume he is always doing good.
No. So here we cannot say it's necessary to reply salam because you don't know he has said salam. And here validity does not mean anything. Validity of what? Yeah. So you cannot say Asaalat al-Sihhah means that he has said salam. Because we don't know if he had said salam and then you doubted whether that salam was proper, then you can say Asaalat. But if you don't know whether he has said salam or he has just saying how are you, for example. Another example is شخص رأيناه واقفا مقابل ميت وهو يتلفظ بألفاظ لا ندري هل قصد بها أداء الصلاة على الميت أو قصد بها الدعاء للميت دون الصلاة عليه. There is a dead person, he is washed, kafan, everything. It must be now, prayed, we have to pray on the body of the dead person. You see, there is a person standing before the dead person, facing Qibla, and he says something, but you don't know what he is saying. Can you say Asaalat al-Sihhah fi fi'l al-Muslim means that he has done Salatul Mayyit, so I don't need? No. Maybe he was praying, maybe that's just dua. But if you know, or he says that I have done Salatul Mayyit, then you don't need to question him. Yeah? Someone says, we did Salatul Mayyit. Say, okay. But if you just look, they said something, they did something, but you are not sure it was Salat, you cannot say Asaalat al-Sihhah means that they have. It's very logical. Okay, let's go to the next rule, which is very important rule and has lots of discussions. This is known as Qa'idatul Laa Darar, the rule of no harm. Okay? This is very famous rule. No harm. This rule...
Can I ask a question, please? I think that I've been asked before, but I didn't get the answer. The non-Muslim person forms a contract. Is it valid? That's number 4 question in the English book.
This rule would not apply to that case. Because this rule is for Muslims. And it's normally also for religious actions. But of course, we can say it's not only, it can be for mu'amalat, but it's normally, salah, tahara, hajj, this type of thing. But of course, it includes also transactions. But we cannot use it for others. Maybe for them, we can use other things. For example, if we say there is Siratul Uqala, then Siratul Uqala, maybe we can say, doesn't distinguish between Muslim and non-Muslim. Yeah? You cannot say Siratul Uqala is only for Muslims. So if Uqala assume that someone who has done something has done it properly, then it can be for Muslims and non-Muslims. Yes, if it was Siriyya Mutasharra'a and it was only for religious people, then it would be limited. So depending on what is your proof, what is your argument for this rule, you can then judge the scope. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Sorry. We said if I believe something has to be done in Arabic and someone else believes it can be done in English, then we cannot say that we agree that it is sahih based on our...
So who has done it?
Someone else has done it in English.
Has done it, or you don't know? You don't know. The question is this, you know that for him Arabic is not a requirement, but still you say maybe he has done it in Arabic. But if for him Arabic is not a requirement, and you know he has not said it in Arabic, and for you Arabic is a requirement, so then you cannot do as-salatu sahha.
Yes, because my mujtahid says it has to be in Arabic, his mujtahid says it can be in any language. But can we not say that the system of him following his mujtahid is correct? So
for him is correct.
For him is correct, perhaps no punishment.
Yeah, but for you, of course, there can be another discussion that maybe, for example, a mujtahid would say, in this case, okay. But normally, as we have in the book, it says either sihhah for the agent or as-sihhatul waqi'iyyah. As-sihhatul waqi'iyyah for you would be either you have to do ihtiyat or you follow your marja. Yeah? Otherwise, you don't have access to real sihhah, real validity. So, qa'idatul laa darar. We have lots of discussions, and at least this takes this session and next session, at least. So you should be ready for good discussions. Laa darar means there is no harm. In Islam, we have no harm. Some people have tried to negate, to reject any legislation, any hukm, any ruling that would cause harm to the person, to the mukallaf. For example, if faqih is faced with a case that wudu is harmful, imagine someone is ill and using water is harmful. Some people said, La darara wa la dirara fil Islam. There is no harm and no harming. Then this wuzu is not legislated and you have to do tayammum. Or for example, if someone cannot fast and fasting is harmful, so faqih may say, you don't fast. It's harmful. Or for example, if someone if for example shaves his beard, it is a requirement of health. Suppose he has some problem in his skin that he cannot keep beards. Okay? Then in this case, a faqih may say, La darara fil Islam, la darara wa la dirara fil Islam. So there is no problem in shaving if not shaving would be harmful. Or a lady who needs to go to a male doctor, there is no female doctor, and then her hijab has to be compromised. So someone may say, here hijab is not necessary because la darara wa la dirara fil Islam. So these are different examples that people may try to shed light on them through qa'idatul laa darar. But this is something which needs more discussions. Actually, he says some of our Sunni brothers also have so much talked about this rule that some of them have said إن الفقه يدور على خمسة أحاديث. They said all fiqh goes around 5 hadiths. One of them is this hadith of La Darar, which is the basis of this rule. Our Shia scholars also have lots of discussion about this, Sheikh Ansari and others. So let's go deeper. And again, as we normally do, see what is the meaning, what's the argument, what is the scope, and all the details, condition, and so on and so forth. So first, مضمون القاعدة. What is the meaning, the definition of this rule? Ulama have different opinions. Sheikh Ansari rahmatullah alayh says this. This is what Sheikh Ansari says. إن كل حكم يتسبب من ثبوته ضرر على المكلف فهو مرفوع وغير ثابت في الشريعة. I read it in Arabic because you have to learn this much, you know. كل حكم, إن كل حكم, every ruling, يتسبب من ثبوته ضرر على المكلف, that accepting that ruling, existence of that ruling would cause harm on mukallaf, the person who has the taklif. So any ruling which causes harm on the person who wants to do this taklif, marfu'un, is removed. وغير ثابت في الشريعة, and is not established, is not proved, does not exist in Islamic Sharia. So according to Sheikh Ansari, قاعدة لا ضرار means we don't have any ruling in Islam that cause harm. On whom? On mukallaf. بكلمة أخرى, in other words, كل حكم شرع في الإسلام, any ruling which is legislated in Islam exists فهو ثابت ما دام لا يلزم من ثبوته ضرر على المكلف, as long as no harm is caused for mukallaf. Any ruling remains intact, but this is unless it leads to harm. If it leads to harm, it's cancelled. وفي أي فترة وحالة يلزم الضرر من ثبوته فيها كان مرتفعا. In any time, any condition that the ruling produces harm, it will be removed. And some of our ulama who came after Sheikh Ansari also agreed with Sheikh in his definition. So according to Sheikh Ansari rahmatullah alayh, the definition of Qa'idiyya la Darar is that any ruling in Islam, if is in a certain condition leading to harm, causing harm for mukallaf, that rule is removed. But some other people, like Shaykh al-Sharia Isfahani, they said this rule is not that much about mukallaf. It's about causing harm to others. Causing harm to others. They said, إن المقصود النهي عن الإضرار بالآخرين. What is meant by this rule, inshallah, I will mention for you the story of Samura. As you will see, this was about causing harm to another family. I will mention for you the hadith, when we are talking about the argument. It's not about causing harm to yourself. It's causing harm to other people. And in Islam, it is prohibited to harm other people. So it's not that much about rulings that apply to you. It's about rulings that between you and other people. Let's see what's the proof. If you go to page 90 of the Arabic version.
Page
90
90.
of Arabic version. قضية سمرة بن جندب. Maybe you have it in English version also.
Page 72.
70 سمرة بن جندب. Yes. رواها الكليني في الكافي. Sheikh al-Kulayni rahmatullah alayh in his Kafi has narrated this hadith in this format بالشكل التالي, in this form. عدة من أصحابنا means some of our companions, means narrators. And Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Khalid and Abi means from father of Ahmad ibn Muhammad, means Muhammad ibn Khalid. This is al-Barqi, yeah? Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Khalid al-Barqi from his father Muhammad ibn Khalid and Abdullah ibn Bukair. Abdullah ibn Bukair was Fatahi, but he was Siqah. You know Fatahis, they followed 6 Imam.
Abdullah ibn Aftah.
Yeah, then they followed instead of Imam Qasim Abdullah, but he was a reliable person in his narrations. And we have this hadith also, خُذُوا مَا رَوَوْا وَذَرُوا مَا رَأَوْا. Okay? So, Abdullah ibn Bukair is Siqah, and Zurara. Zurara doesn't need any recommendation. And Abi Ja'far alayhi salam, from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. So, what is the text of the hadith? Inna Samarat ibn Jundab kana lahu izqun fi ha'itin lirajulin min al-ansar. Samarat ibn Jundab had, izq means a kind of branch. Here means a tree. He had a tree with some branches. In someone's ha'it, a garden, something which is surrounded by walls. And that garden belonged to someone from Ansar, from people of Medina. Okay? وَكَانَ مَنْزِلُ الْأَنْصَارِ بِبَابِ الْبُسْتَانِ. This garden also was where this man used to live. He had also a place for life. His house also was in the garden and actually was near the door. So Samarat ibn Jundab, to look at his tree, was coming and disturbing this person because he and his family were living also near the door. Okay? وَكَانَ يَمُرُّ بِهِ إِلَى نَخْلَتِهِ. He was going somewhere to see his palm tree, date tree. وَلَا يَسْتَأْذِنْ. But he was not asking for permission. So this person was living there, his wife, his daughter, they were around. They were disturbed. فَكَلَّمَهُ الْأَنصَارِ أَنْ يَسْتَأْذِنَهُ. That Ansari said to him, please, when you want to come, seek permission. If you are prepared, we say, come in. Otherwise, you have to wait. فَأَبَى Samura. But unfortunately, he refused. Samara said, no, I don't want to seek permission. This is my tree. Anytime I can come and see my tree. فَلَمَّا تَأَبَّى. When he refused to seek permission, جَاءَ الْأَنصَارِ إِلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ. That Ansari went to the Prophet. فَشَكَى إِلَيْهِ. He made a complaint. وَخَبَّرَهُ الْخَبَرَ, and informed him about this. فَأَرْسَلَ إِلَيْهِ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Rasulullah didn't make a judgment in this, in his absence. He said, tell him come. Yeah, we should ask him, Rasulullah arsala ilayhi, asked him to be coming, send someone to bring him. وَخَبَّرَهُ بِقَوْلِ الْأَنصَارِ وَمَا شَكَى, and said, this Ansari, this man is telling this about you and he is making a complaint. وَقَالَ إِنْ أَرَدْتَ الدُّخُولِ فَاسْتَأْذِنْ, and Rasulullah said, if you want to get into it, ask permission. But فَأَبَى, again he refused. Even he didn't listen to the Prophet. فَلَمَّا أَبَى صَاوَمَهُ حَتَّى بَلَغَ بِهِ مِنَ الثَّمَنِ مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Then Rasulullah start negotiating with him. Musawama means negotiating. And increase, for example, sell this much. He said no, sell. They increased the price. Rasulullah increased the price till it became MashaAllah, means big amount. Much more than the value of that tree. فَأَبَى أَنْ يَبِيعَ. He said, I don't want to sell it. Then Rasulullah said, لَكَ بِهَا إِذْغٌ يُمَدُّ لَكَ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. Instead, you can have a tree in heaven. فَأَبَى أَنْ يَقْبَلَ. He said, no, I don't want even a tree in heaven. فقال رسول الله للأنصاري اذهب فاقلعها وارم بها إليه. He said, go and uproot that tree and throw it to him. Whatever he wants to do with his tree, he can do it. فَإِنَّهُ لَا ضَرَرَ وَلَا ضِرَارَ. This is where Rasulullah said this. There is no harm and there is no dirar, which means harming each other, mutual harming.
So one is harm yourself, one is harm the other.
Yeah, or there are lots of interpretations we have to discuss. Or maybe no harm in Islamic legislation and no harming other people. So, this is the story of Samura. But the same story has different versions about the last sentence. رواها الكليني نفسه ثانية. Sheikh al-Kulayni has narrated this again for the second time. After some hadith, he repeats this again, but from different chain of narrators and a little difference in the text. He says, Ali ibn Muhammad ibn Bandar and Ahmad ibn Abi Abdullah and Abi and Ba'd Ashabina and Abdullah ibn Muskan and Zurara and Abi Ja'far قال إن سمرة بن جنداب. Finally, Rasulullah said this. إنك رجل مضار. Rasulullah said, according to this version, to summarize, you are a man who mudar, baba mufa'ala, means like muqatil. Means you are a person who harms others.
Harmful.
Yeah? To others, not to yourself.
Yeah.
ولا ضرر ولا ضرار على مؤمن. According to this version, there is ala mu'min also. There is no harming, or means no harm in Islam and no harming other believers. Then we have also the same story narrated by Sheikh Tusi and Sheikh Saduq, but again Sheikh Tusi and Sheikh Saduq have narrated from Ibn Bukair and Zurara. So the last two people are the same as the first hadith of Kulayni. But it is interesting that Saduq has also another version, and at the end Rasulullah says this: Ma araka ya Samura illa mudharran. O Samura, I don't see you except as a person who is harming. اذهب يا فلان فاقطعها واضرب بها وجهه. Go and cut it and throw at his face. This is one version. So we have three versions of this story. Of course, the story is the same, but the last part which Rasulullah said. One is لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Another is لا ضرر ولا ضرار على مؤمن. Another, there is no لا ضرر ولا ضرار. It's ما أراك يا سمرة إلا مضارا. اذهب يا فلان فاقطعها واضرب بها وجهه. The literal expression of لا ضرر ولا ضرار is not there, although the ruling is like that. Is it clear? Assalamu alaikum. The next proof for Qa'ideh la darar is what we have in the case of shuf'ah. Are you familiar with shuf'ah in fiqh? Haqq al-shuf'ah.
The two partners and one wants to sell it, and the second one has got the right to take it before.
Yes. Imagine two people own a house as partners. It's not separated. It's not that, for example, one of them owns the right wing, another left wing. No, everything is shared. So if one of these partners wants to sell his part, he should first give the chance to the other partner to buy. He cannot sell it to other people. Okay? It's very rational. This is called shuf'ah. Pardon?
Priority.
Yes, a kind of priority for partners. Okay? So, there is a hadith that Sheikh Saduq, Sheikh Tusi, Sheikh Kulayni, all of them have narrated. And Aqabat ibn Khalid and Abi Abdullah. Aqabat ibn Khalid from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. قال قضى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله بالشفعة بين الشركاء في الأراضين والمساكن. Rasulullah used to judge according to shuf'ah with lands and homes. So people who used to own together, share a home or a slot of land, Rasulullah was observing shuf'ah. وَقَالَ لَا ضَرَرَ وَلَا ضِرَارَ. And he used to say there is no harming and no mutual harm. وَقَالَ إِذَا عُرِّفَتِ الْعُرَفِ وَحُدَّتِ الْحُدُودِ فَلَا شُفْعَةَ. But if borders are marked, then there is no shuf'ah. Okay? So imagine we have an acre of land, but then we have made a border. This side is mine, that side is yours. Then according to this hadith, there is no shuf'ah because it is separated. There is border which is clearly marked.
Shubham is doubt, isn't it? Shubha. What do you mean by shubha?
No, shuf'a.
Shubha.
Shuf'a means the right that a partner has a kind of priority to buy if you want to sell. And but pardon?
English law.
Yes. I think it's rational, and maybe you find it in. Yes. Another thing that can be used as a proof, but of course we come and inshallah we will explain that this Aqabat ibn Khalid is not verified. That's a problem. But for the time being, another argument is again from this man. روى الكليني بسنده إلى عقبة بن خالد, again from Imam Sadiq عليه السلام. قضى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم بين أهل المدينة في مشارب النخل. People of Medina, they had water going to their date trees. And sometimes, they had disputes over water, right over water. Rasulullah used to say, لا يمنع نفع الشيء. You cannot stop the benefit of water reaching to others. Or some have said نقع الشيء, نقع. Some said نفع, some said نقع. نقع means extra water. So basically, when the water goes, for example, through your garden, you take what you need for your trees, but then you cannot stop surplus going to others. You cannot say, because it goes to my garden, I don't want it to come out of my garden. You have to let it go. Okay? وَقَضَى بَيْنَ أَهْلِ الْبَادِيَةِ. Also outside Medina, in desert, in plain, So there is no garden as such, but they had places where they could have grass and, things for their animals, feeding animals. Again, that water is important. That they should let this water reach other people so that they can have green, land. فَقَالَ لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Again, Rasulullah about that case he said there is no harm and you cannot harm other people. So we have hadith of Samurah in 3 versions. We have hadith of Aqabat ibn Khalid about Shuf'ah. We have hadith of Aqabat ibn Khalid about water. But Aqabat ibn Khalid is not known to be thiqah. His reliability is not proved. So, therefore, we only can rely on hadith of Samurah. Okay? But now, in hadith of Samurah, we have 3 versions. لا ضرر ولا ضرار, لا ضرر ولا ضرار على مؤمن, or no mention of لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Because the last one was ما أراك يا سمرة إلا مضارا اذهب يا فلان فاقطعها واضرب بها وجهها. Is it clear?
One of them has a qaid ala mu'min. It's qaid, right?
Yeah, one of them has extra ala mu'min.
Are these 3 versions all sahih? Because they are from Zalal?
No. We come back to this. The one which has ala mu'min has not been mentioned through reliable sanad. Lam yarid fi riwayatin mu'tabarat as-sanad. Okay? And he says, we are surprised that Sheikh Ansari says, من أصح الروايات سندا ما ورد فيه لا ضرر ولا ضرار على مؤمن. He said, one of the most reliable and authentic is this one. But Sheikh Irwani says, this actually is problematic. Okay? And also, we cannot say definitely there must be one case. He says, لا يمكن أن يقال إن قضية سمرة قضية واحدة لا يحتمل فيها التعدد. Maybe there were more than one case. Maybe there were different cases. Maybe once Rasulullah said لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Another time, for example, said ما أراك يا سمرة إلا مضارا. So, in any case, what is important is that we should not assume that there is a conflict. This is a good rule to remember. When you have two hadiths and one of them has ziyada, means extra, and one of them doesn't have that extra, this is not necessarily a conflict. Yeah?
It can narrow down the scope.
Pardon?
It can narrow down the scope of the hadith.
No, I mean the one which,
Conflict,
yeah,
narrow.
yeah, the one which has less cannot be standing against the one which has extra, because which one is stronger in indication? The one which has extra, yeah. If you have asalatu adam al-naqisa and asalatu adam al-ziyada, which one is more powerful? Asalatu adam al-ziyada. Because maybe, if two people are reporting the same story, one of them says few lines, another says, more, it says a page. We should assume the one who says more is stronger in his memory or, better in his report. We cannot say you are lying or you are making mistake, because there is no reason to question him. Yes, if the other one said few lines and said nothing else was said, then there will be a conflict. But he mentioned, like for example, two people go to lecture. After lecture, you meet both of them. You say, what did Sheikh said on Membar? One of them says 1 minute, another person says half an hour. Can you say there is conflict? There is no conflict. Okay. Now, after understanding the definition, after understanding different hadiths which are used, and then realizing that we should focus only on hadith of Samurah, now we have a lengthy discussion about what would be understood from this hadith. Especially, also we have to mention, inshallah, that there are some versions of this hadith available in Sunni sources and also maybe in Shia sources that has La Darar wa La Darar fil Islam, which is very important. Inshallah, we discuss this next session. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Yes.
These maxims.